Come celebrate the 4-day-long Cultural Awareness Festival with us, April 13th through the 17th. This is the 30th year of this festival, and we're honoring the Republic of Tanzania at Robert R. Church Park at Beale and 4th Street. Each day there will be special activities from a luncheon, children and seniors and international music, as well as health and wellness services from the community. That's Africa in April, April 13th through the 17th, the Cultural Awareness Festival. Come and enjoy the fun.
Good morning and welcome to Focus on the Arts. I'm your host, Malvin, Massey, and of course, every Friday we talk to the movers and shakers of the Memphis arts community, the people that are making things happen for your entertainment benefit and mine. Our guest today is one that needs no introduction, and the art that we're talking about is the 30th Africa in April Cultural Awareness Festival that is coming up April 13th through the 17th of this year, honoring the Republic of Tanzania, or Tanzania, according to how you talk to. Our guest this morning, Professor of African American Studies here at the University of Memphis in the Communication Department for 30 years or so, or 40 years, yeah. And he recently retired, to everyone's chagrin, but, you know, what can I say? David Ace is with us this morning. Good morning, David.
Thank you, Malvin. Appreciate you.
30 years.
30 years.
I know I always start our talks about Africa in April with that, but 30 years, that's a long time.
30 years, a long time. We're very proud of our staff and all of those who supported us all along the way. We could not do this by ourselves. We had great people like you personally, and the University of Memphis Department of Communication, as well as WUMR.
You know, the way you started it as a festival, because we needed a festival, did you think that it was going to go off into being this large international event that it has become?
No, I really didn't, Melvin. I guess when I started, as you mentioned, I was teaching African-American rhetoric and interracial communication in the Department of Communication, and was talking about history and the culture of African-Americans and the importance of it and why people should celebrate their culture and their ethnicity. And I've been very Afrocentric all my life, going to Black Studies conferences, and there was a question raised back in the 60s, why wasn't African-American children learning at the same pace as others? Well, the first thing, we wasn't represented in the body of knowledge that we were studying. Yeah. And, of course, slavery had a great impact to disconnect us from our heritage and culture. During that time, that had a great impact on our people as far as celebrating our ethnicity. So my wife and I decided to try to come up with something that would get African Americans involved in the knowledge of Africa and their history and their culture. And we thought about it, and we said, well, what can we do besides teach at the universities and in the high schools? So I said, well, what I need to do is take what I was learning from the halls of academia to the essence of the community and make this come alive. And, my wife's pretty smart in African studies and literature and language. And she said, why don't we start a festival? It was a great idea, a festival. We like music, we like to dance, we like to do a lot of things. Yeah. So said we start a festival and celebrate it through the windows of the arts, all of the arts, music, dance, all aspects of it. We could attract some people, and we could maybe get something going. So we said, well, when we're going to do it? And said, well, you're at Memphis in May, so let's do it in April. April, and the unique thing about this, we'll look back over 30 years, the A's, Africa, first letter in the alphabet is A, and it's the cradle of mankind. April as a month when everything is being born and coming into being. My last name is Acey, start with an A.
Just all A's.
All A's. And my wife said, well, we'll call it the Africa in April Cultural Awareness Festival. That was our intent, to get it started. And said we'll celebrate an African country through the windows of the arts. And had no idea that it would blossom with Almighty God's help.
It was 96.
1986. 1986.
And so when I got involved in it in the 80s, in the 80s, early 90s, I remember that it was on the courthouse, in front of the courthouse.
Absolutely.
In the plaza right there in front of the courthouse. Had people playing drums on the street.
That's right.
Had a little stage set up and some music going on, but it was mostly just vendors and people buying African clothes and kufus, all sorts of stuff like that.
Yes. And
they just outgrew that spot.
Yes. Well, the unique thing about getting started on any venue, we had an idea and hope that it would blossom and just work very hard to make it happen. And as we began to talk about the African continent and the country and trying to get people involved, of course we wanted everybody, but especially African Americans. Yeah. And a lot of African Americans didn't understand what we were doing. They said, "Why y'all out here with all these African clothes on? We don't want to go back to Africa." Yeah. No, we're not trying to take you back to Africa. We try to educate you about Africa and all the wonderful and beautiful things and aesthetic that is happening on the continent.
And some of the things that we don't, I mean, the media, with what we see and what we know and have learned over the years, like you said, underrepresented as far as the culture of Africa is concerned. We've learned about colonialism and the slave trade and that kind of thing. We haven't learned about the essence of these countries and the things that people do in these countries. And people still have the idea, and when you say Africa, they're thinking Tarzan movies, jungle and stuff.
Yeah, but
they don't realize that cities like Johannesburg that rival New York for
absolutely. They have cities, hotels, and towns, and an economy and everything in Africa. It's not all like the Tarzan movies. That's the idea we want to convey, that there's some great things happening in Africa and in the past, and it's happening now. Mm-hmm. So we want to expose that. So each year we selected a country, and we call ambassadors and try to get the people to come down, and then we celebrate it with music, dance, culture, food.
And you've never had any difficulty with getting the cooperation of these governments from these countries?
No. Once we started emailing them and letting them know what we plan to do, they were very pleased that African Americans was interested in Africa, especially ambassadors in D.C. They wanted to expose the country and the products and the people and everything that's going on
there. Yeah. If you just tuned in, by the way, this is Focus on the Arts. We are talking to David Acey, who is the executive director and founder, along with his wife Yvonne, of the African April Cultural Awareness Festival that takes place April 13th through the 17th this year. And it is, of course, going to be in Church Park, down on Beale Street, downtown Memphis. And it's always set up so cool, the big old stage on the corner, right up there on the corner, right by the FedEx Forum. And then the park is just loaded down with vendors and food, and the smells of foods and things. This is always just so cool. And this year, the country being honored is Tanzania, officially the Republic of Tanzania. They speak Swahili there.
Swahili.
Yeah. It's a country in East Africa within the African Great Lakes region. It is bordered by Kenya and Uganda in the north, Rwanda, Burundi, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo to the west, Zambia, Malawi, and Mozambique to the south, and the Indian Ocean to the east. Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest mountain, is in northeastern Tanzania. Population of about 51.82 million people as of 2014. It's diverse, composed of several ethnic, linguistic, and religious groups. Tanzania is a presidential constitutional republic, and since 1996, its official capital city has been Dodoma, where the president's office, National Assembly, and some government ministries are located. Dar es Salaam, the former capital, retains its most government offices as the country's largest city, principal port, and leading commercial entity. And I was speaking about colonialism. So if European colonialism began in Tanzania during the late 19th century, when the Germans formed German East Africa, which gave way to British rule following World War I. The mainland was governed as Tanganyika, which we remember that. I remember that name. And the Zanzibar archipelago remaining a separate colonial jurisdiction. Following their respective independence in 61 and 63, the two entities merged in April of 1964 to form the United Republic of Tanzania. And the name Tanzania was created as a clipped compound of the names of the two separate states unified in the country, Tanganyika and Zanzibar.
That's why it's called the United Republic of Tanzania. It's interesting that Zanzibar's over beautiful countries. Beautiful.
So much history too
so much
involved
history.
in that. From before colonialism and even and after, during and after.
Yeah.
This was one of the showcase nations in Africa.
Absolutely. And you mentioned colonization. Most of the African countries were colonized by the Portuguese, British, or someone else, and then we began to get our independence and began self-government and democratic policies in the country. And it's just so wonderful to learn about all the history and the culture. And Swahili, doing Kwanzaa, we speak Swahili, the Kwanzaa celebrations. But we're just so proud to honor this year's country, Tanzania, and through the windows of the arts.
Right on. So then Wednesday, April the 13th, that's International Entrepreneurs Day. That's the luncheon.
Yes, that's the lunch. April the 13th is what we call the International Entrepreneur Economic Business Luncheon. And at this luncheon, it'll be at 11:30 to 1 at the Holiday Inn Airport, 2240 Democrat Road this year. We'll be on Democrat, Holiday Inn Airport on Democrat Road. And it's 11:30 to 1. And all of our corporate sponsors will be there, mostly the Tennessee Arts Commission, Arts Memphis, and Federal Express, and just a host of other sponsors will be there. First Tennessee Foundation and Comcast and Hampton Inn. All our corporate sponsors will be there. And it's a great place to be there to network and talk about business and also enjoy a wonderful lunch. Yeah. And with this year, our executive of the year is Dr. Kennard Brown, who is the Vice Chancellor of the University of Tennessee Health Sciences. And he's been very instrumental in helping us work with African countries, helping us set up pharmaceutical companies there. He's a very phenomenal person that's really worthy of notoriety and being the African April's Executive of the Year. Yeah. So we're expecting great things. In addition, this year, our 30th anniversary, we have two chairs, Mr. Ronald Kent with A.S. Barbaro Company, Mr. Kevin Kane, who is the President and CEO of the Memphis Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Outstanding. And the University of Memphis.
And the University of Memphis, yes.
And then Thursday is, that's International Vendors Marketplace Setup Day. So Thursday is sort of a laid-back day for everybody else. This is just to get the park set up.
Yeah, Thursday is for all our vendors that come from Africa. They're coming from New York and all over the South, as well as our local vendors with jewelry, clothing, food, everything you can imagine, purses for sale and T-shirts and all. That's the setup day for our vendors, and we set all of that up to get ready for Friday.
Right on. And then Friday, Children and Senior Citizens Day, International Diversity Parade takes off at 10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock. We have we've invited the local schools to participate in the parade. We're going to march down Beale Street to 2nd to George W. Lee, back through the alley behind the FedEx Forum, back to the park. And we're so happy to announce that we have over 30 schools participating with the bands, the majorettes. That's all. Stillwalk, our Stillwalk is coming back from New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans.
Shaka Zulu will be here, as well as the local bands from all the various schools in Memphis. And we also allow the students to participate on stage if they desire to. So it should be a great day for senior citizens and Children's Day. And that's Friday,
April the 15th.
And we'll be in the park from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the $5 fee, $5 on Children's Day is free for the children and the people participating in the parade. We don't charge them. We only start charging after 6 p.m. on Friday.
And that had to do with safety.
Oh, yeah, safety. And then we have a fence around it. We have police protection. We have personal security guards. And in 30 years, we have not had one person arrested, not one person drunk, or not one person going to jail. So I'd like to give a shout out to Memphis Police Department, Shelby County Sheriff, and all of the security that we have around the event.
All these years.
Yes, and it's just been wonderful.
And then Saturday is Family Health and Wellness Community Day, and the Blues Showcase takes place there.
Absolutely. Family Health and Wellness Showcase. A healthy community is a wealthy community. As I mentioned, Dr. Brown will be our Executive of the Year, and University of Tennessee Health Sciences in Memphis is going to send their doctors, their nurses, all to do free testing, as well as some of our local high schools going to bring 18 or 15 of the young ladies there training in the health professions to do blood pressure screening, high blood pressure, and we're going to have the workforce development truck from Nashville that's self-contained. If you need a job, you can go in. They have all the information in there. You can go right online. They will help you. We're also going to have Memphis Fire Department is going to bring down the big fire truck to talk about fire safety, and we're trying to get some others to bring other things down, as well as the local radio stations will be down there with the truck to simulcast the event.
Yeah.
And Saturday night, you got to hurry and get to this. We have a great lineup of entertainment. We have the local people performing, but I've talked with Preston Shannon, Will Graves and Soul, talking with George Cobb, and Eye to Eye, Monte Coors, and that great band will perform with Denise LaSalle Saturday night. So you blues lovers and jazz lovers, you have to come down. It'll be Saturday afternoon. And want to thank Buster's Liquors and Wines for helping us with our receptions, and also they'll be there helping us with our VIP tent Saturday night.
Right on. And then Sunday, April the 17th, International African American Music Day, Jazz, Gospel, and Reggae Festival.
Yes. We have the gospel and religious groups coming in the morning to have church in the park. And we're going to feed the homeless and hopefully save a few souls. The ministers will be there doing that. And all the time we'll have music, dance, reggae, jazz, local artists, local people participating. And just a real festive time will be going on during our festival. And we'll be in the park April the 15th, 16th, and 17th. Africa and April Cultural Awareness Festival, $5 admission, children 10 and under free. So many other things we'd like to say, but we run out of time. Hopefully we'll continue to promote it. I know you will.
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We started talking about it a couple of months ago, actually.
I want to thank WUMR again and Mr. Malvin Massey, who is director of WUMR, and we appreciate you for your participation and cooperation.
We appreciate 30 years of cultural awareness, Doc.
Thank you very much.
All right, and it's, again, the African April Cultural Awareness Festival. It's April 13th through 17th.
Our phone number, if anybody's interested in contacting us.
You're still looking for vendors.
We have a little more time left for vendors. 901-315-7508, the African April office. 901-315-7508, or 947-2133. That's the main number, 947-2133.
Right on. Dr. David Ace. Thanks, Dave, for coming by and talking with us.
Thank you, Malvin.
All right, and this has been Focus on the Arts. We'll do it again next week. In the meantime, you're back for more of the best in jazz. This is U92 FM.